So another video now. I just wanted to briefly talk about the transport in Korea and especially in Seoul. And one big problem I have with Seoul is the taxi drivers. It's a massive issue, and especially if you're a tourist, you can be taken absolutely for the ride, no pun intended. Now the transport in Korea, the public transport is fantastic. The subway is great and gets you one side of the city to the other. And more now, when I see the buses, and I'm starting to use the buses more frequently, they're actually very good as well for getting you from A to B, and they go a lot further the more I recognise. Like the other day I was near the Han River near Hapyeong, near Hongdae, and a bus that's from my house was almost there, and I was like, damn, I could get that if I wanted to, because the buses do run later than the trams. But this once again goes down to the one criticism I have for the transport here. The subway closes 11-12 o'clock at night. It closes earlier in the weekend than it does during the week. Now obviously it's probably a good idea in hindsight for me, because I'm not going out drinking on the week now because I've got to be home, but weekend I have to get a taxi home. And I live in a place called Sangwon. Now Sangwon is a bit of a stone, more than a stone's throw away from the centre of Seoul. I am in Seoul, but I'm far north Seoul. Now Friday night, I kept putting my hand out for taxi drivers. They kept pulling in and driving off, pulling in and driving off, pulling in and driving off. Now we won't jump to any conclusions saying, oh, it's because I'm look like a tourist, or we won't get to that point, but I had to pull over a black cab, a luxury cab, and that cost me 34,000 won. Now at the end I just thought, right, I'm just going to pay it, because it was a luxury cab, it didn't rip me off, that's the price they are. But orange cabs, silver cabs, they're so difficult to actually get. They want 50,000 won to get home from popular destinations such as Itaewon or Hongdae, and it's a bit soul destroying at the end of the night trying to get a taxi home, because I live alone and I live further away than all my other friends do. So I live a completely different direction. We can't share taxis. I have to get a taxi on my own home. And a story I'll tell you, 2 weeks ago I was out on a Friday evening and I needed to get home. I was shattered. So my friend called a Kakao taxi. No, it wasn't a Kakao taxi, sorry, it was a different taxi, which is an application on the phone. So she phoned me the taxi, and Hongdae to Sangwon is normally about 22,000 won. They go on an expressway, which is pretty decent, to be honest. I got charged 33,000 won. Me, I don't kick off, so I just pay it, and there's nothing that can be done about it, unfortunately. He can't speak English, I can't speak Korean. Then my friend phoned me the next morning and saying, hey, did you not pay for that taxi last night? And I said, yes, of course I did. Why? What's wrong? They also took the money out of her card as well. So I went from a 22,000 won journey, which is about £16, to a 66,000 won journey, which, you know, you're looking at a bit more along the lines of how much you're looking about, 40 to 45 pounds. And I was just disgusted. She got the money back, but it's not the point. It's the point that got charged twice because they tried to take the piss out of the tourists. And just getting a taxi home is so difficult. I have an ALC card with my address on the back, and still the taxi drivers do not know where that area is. And I've explained Dubongo, which is like the province area I live, like Trafford in Manchester. I live in Dubongo. I live in Sangwon Sa-dong. I'm basically only short of saying the actual street, but for some reason they just do not understand. So then I say Sammunyo. Sammunyo means Sangwon Station, and still they don't know where Sangwon Station is. Now I'm sorry, I've lived in this country for 2 months. If you told me you need to go to this station and I had an application showing you where it is, I'd know where that place is. When I show them where Sangwon is on the map, they just go brain dead. They don't understand. And I think it's all part and parcel that tourists do get ripped off in this country with taxis. Everything else we don't. There's no problem at all. This is one of the safest countries to be in. It's the least scamful city I've ever been in. But when it comes to taxi drivers, they do scam and rip you off, especially because once they colour your skin, it's not a racist thing. It's you're not Korean. You're not Korean. They probably do the same to Chinese or Japanese. They know you cannot speak their language. They do take you for a ride, once again, no pun intended. I believe it's got to the point now where I get worried getting a taxi home at night. I feel safe. That's not the point, but I hate having to talk to drivers and they speak Korean to me and I'm speaking English, and it just doesn't work between us. So now what I'm trying to do is stay till the first subway train home at 5:30 in the morning. Now obviously if I've worked Friday night, it's not happening. I've done it once. I go out almost every Friday, Saturday evening. I've done it once. So it's getting to the point where I'm throwing money, I'm absolutely pouring money into the taxi system here. And it's getting disappointing to keep doing it over and over and over and over again. And it's bad that no one lives around here who I go out with. But that's my own choice of making friends some of further distances. Sangmun is a pretty residential area. It doesn't really have many foreigners here, which is nice, to be honest. Not in a weird, strange way. It's nice to have traditional Korean lifestyle here, really. I do my own thing. Do you mean I notice the same people almost every day, and they start saying, oh hey, hello, and it's nice. I go annyeonghaseyo. I start talking to them the supermarket downstairs. Obviously we speak now every time I go in. They're like, oh, English gentleman, English gentleman. I'm like, oh, Jungkook, which means England. And yeah, it's just the taxis really. My main problem is getting around in a taxi. It's just, when you get a good taxi, it is cheap, it is reasonable. There's a small, I'd say small minority, but the majority of my taxis have been ripped off. When you don't get a cheap taxi, it really costs an arm and a leg. So I'm going to end the video here now. I hope you really liked the video for the 9 or 10 video people who watch this, but that's just a little bit of an insight on what taxis in Korea are like. Another piece of advice as well, if you just arrived to Korea, do not get a taxi from the airport. The subways are great, the buses, airport limousines are great. Do not get a taxi. If it's 4 o'clock in the morning, I understand. But do not get a taxi in the airport. It's just not worth it. So get the KTX to Seoul Station, then you're in the centre of Seoul. Get the subway, the airport railroad line. It goes to Gimpo, it goes to Seoul Station, then it goes all the way to the other side of Seoul. It is the Seoul subway system here. You can go from one side of Seoul to the other for about 2001, which is about 50p, $2. Where my normal journey is about 1,500. And if you get the buses here, you can get a bus here and the transfer you for free. So either the bus or the subway would be free. Now I can get a 101 bus outside my apartment for 1,101 on my T-Money card. I can then get it to Sangmun, or go all the way to Dongdaemun, and then get onto the subway line for an extra 301, which is 10p. One of them is technically free. So if you see a bus, if you have the idea of walking or getting a bus to the station, you might as well get a bus. It's going to be free. So I hope you like this video, guys. For the whole 10, 20 people, 20 have been hopeful there. But if the people who watch it enjoy the video, and give a subscribe, because I am going to be making more videos like this, and hopefully you enjoyed it. So peace.